Welcome to the channel Gossip Now. Eddie Point asked why lotteries are so well known in any event. When difficulties go crazy? Indeed, clutch your cap since there are a few astounding insider facts hiding behind those glossy lottery balls. Who's up for a little revealing experience with me? Did you had any idea that lotteries could really maintain that you should be jobless? It could seem like a wild fear-inspired notion. However, it's supported by research. An Indiana college teacher named John Mackel found that when joblessness rates go up in the US, lottery ticket deals additionally take off. Picture this. At the point when the economy endures a shock, individuals lose their positions, and it's irrefutably intense for some. And yet, those monstrous lottery big stakes begin springing up more often than any other time. Recall those stunning billion-dollar big stakes during the lockdowns. They're confirmation that more people are purchasing lottery tickets when difficulties gain out of influence. So what's going on here? We should dig further and reveal the lottery's mysteries. Be that as it may, the lottery isn't just enamored with these irregular ascents and joblessness. They genuinely like a wide range of cash issues. Lotteries continually exploit the feeble and defenseless. A large portion of us won't play until there's a colossal award and we have an additional money to take a shot. Nonetheless, the lottery can hardly hold on until we purchase a ticket. For them to arrive at those huge big stakes, they need to sell significantly a larger number of tickets than we once in a while do. So where does the financing come from? I surmise these individuals' absence of schooling benefits the lottery considerably more since they are bound to feel that triumphant the lottery will help them get away from destitution. This is so in light of the fact that clever individuals are informed that it's almost difficult to walk away with that sweepstakes prize. Without that guidance, individuals know nothing about how distant the chance is. The more individuals play, the more probable they are to foster a game betting dependence on lottery betting as their monetary circumstance deteriorates. In any case, is playing the lottery truly habit-forming? Indeed, kindly re-examine buying lottery tickets. May form into an extreme compulsion. We're not blaming you for compulsion since you periodically buy a lottery ticket. Most of lottery players never foster a betting enslavement. Nonetheless, that doesn't make it any less habit-forming. As per studies, lottery invigorates a similar impact of the mind as cocaine use. Fundamentally, playing the lottery makes your cerebrum discharge dopamine, very much like any remaining kinds of betting. Dopamine is a synapse that rewards you for getting things done by encouraging you. Subsequently, it's really something positive. Typically, completing a job, or on the other hand, in the event that you're a mountain man, finding food will provide you with a surge of dopamine. That is something pleasant. Nonetheless, betting, whether it's playing the lottery or utilizing drugs, gives an extensively more grounded dopamine rush than what our frameworks are familiar with. Multiple times more than whatever we gain from effectively achieving a pleasurable undertaking. Along these lines, they become habit-forming. In this manner, notwithstanding the way that playing the lottery involves no medications, a lottery dependence is genuinely an actual compulsion. The elevated degrees of dopamine that the human cerebrum discharges lead to enslavement. Sit back and relax. Purchasing lottery tickets won't turn into a short-term fixation for you. As indicated by research, certain individuals are intrinsically more leaned than others to foster addictions. It's fascinating to realize that these people every now and again have less dynamic award shippers in their minds contrasted with the vast majority. They don't deliver as much dopamine during normal, remunerating undertakings, so you're less inclined to become dependent on the lottery. Assuming you're for the most part happy or love doing things that aren't irresistible, the lottery business does, in any case, gain from the people who truly do become dependent. Likewise, as recently demonstrated, lottery players are substantially more prone to foster a betting enslavement than the individuals who think of it as their main method for getting away from a critical monetary circumstance. They will buy more tickets regardless of whether they can't manage the cost of them. The more dependent they are, the more they perceive how it helps the lottery. Assuming you're serious, that is truly defective. However, the lottery additionally exploits the victors, not just the individuals who lose their cash. You never get the whole aggregate that you bet for, albeit certain individuals play for unassuming awards. Can we just be real? Most of us play for the gigantic bonanza. Numerous Americans are surging on a mission to purchase tickets in anticipation of winning the Super Millions or Powerball big stakes. which have transcended $1 billion by the following week. Yet it doesn't work like that. We should accept that the reported award is $1 billion. You don't awaken with $1 billion in your record, regardless of whether you score that sweepstakes. This is because of the way that the lottery will possibly pay out around half of the publicized cost, assuming you pick to take the irregularity sum, since they just address out 52% of the promoted cost. The gigantic Powerball bonanza of $1 billion diminishes to $520 million on the off chance that you acknowledge the single amount. What I know is exceptionally surprising. For what reason do they act that way? They guarantee that it has to do with the declared award really showing how much cash will be paid out after some time, considering expansion. That is more in accordance with the annuity payout choice, which fans out your award cash across years or even many years. It might appear to be shrewd to pick the annuity choice for your lottery wins. However, there's as yet another expense to consider: taxes. Lottery victors in the US should pay charges on their rewards, and these expenses might apply at least a couple of times. To start with, there's the government charge, which all lottery champs should pay, paying little heed to where they reside. The genuine kicker, however, is that you can likewise be obligated for state charges, contingent upon which state you call home. Indeed, one more part of your benefits might come. The miserable truth is that a sizable lump of your big stake dreams could wind up in the public authorities' cash safes. Regardless of whether you pick the annuity installment choice, you can in any case lose up to 45% of your prize. In uncommon conditions, every installment is decreased by the taxman, in this way dissolving your once imagined success. A discouraging reality can cause you to have a put outlook on making light of the lottery overall. On the off chance that you're a committed lottery player, the chance of high expenses might try and make you ponder migrating to a country where lottery wins are not exposed to tax collection. Indeed, there are such captivated local people where the taxman never contacts your award. The striking distinction is sufficient to make you want a lottery triumph without any circumstances associated with the cash. Notwithstanding, regardless of whether you win the whole total, it's as yet a sizable measure of cash, and you'll profit from it. Notwithstanding, you are in for a horrible shock. On the off chance that you are playing to help your family, it's harder than you could envision to utilize your lotto rewards to help your loved ones. Now that you've raised a ruckus around town, your difficulties ought to be all tackled, correct? Your friends and family and you are ready forever. However, it's not exactly that simple. Incidentally, you can't simply give your companions, family, and companions a huge number of dollars in return for your consideration. The public authority will request a part of it. Do you realize about the gift charge? Relatively few individuals have it, even your own relatives. You should settle a gift charge to part with the cash. Numerous lottery champs are trapped in this snare. They don't understand they're losing a lot of cash while they accept they're improving life for individuals they care about. That is not really an exaggeration. After you've previously paid charges on your rewards, the gift charge in the US can be basically as high as 46% of the cash you part with. That is significantly more cash than we expected to pay the taxman. And gift charges are not just a worry in the US. They exist in basically every country, even the nations that don't burden you on your lottery rewards. It's not generally as high as 46%. However, it's continuously standing by to find clueless rich individuals while they're attempting to be great. All in all, you can't get away from it. However, don't stress except if you're within. You most likely will not succeed at any rate on the grounds that the game is manipulated. You could get an opportunity, okay? By and large not. However, not dependably. To keep the game from being manipulated, numerous precautionary measures are taken. Certainly, there may be terrible action happening with a Powerball or Uber Millions. However, we're uninformed about it, and there are a few reports that the lottery is rigged. So underneath is a concise rundown of the world's most astonishing lottery contentions. They're very astonishing. I guarantee a fake ticket from Cuba. Cuba lottery directors thought of the idea that one day they expected to cheat outsiders into buying counterfeit Cuban lottery tickets so they could take the returns. It raised to where tickets were being made available for purchase as distant as South Florida, the West Indies, and even Puerto Rico. The issue turned out to be serious to such an extent that the Cuban president needed to mediate and end it. Tickets purchased after the attract China. Assuming that there's one method for ensuring you'll score that sweepstakes, It's to understand what the triumphant numbers will be. Yet how might you realize that prior to purchasing a ticket in the event that you're not sufficiently fortunate to be a genuine clairvoyant? 36-year-old Jewel Li Jia from China saw an imperfection in the lottery ticket machine in his store. It permitted him to continue to purchase tickets for 5 minutes after the triumphant numbers were declared in the live draw. So he essentially purchased a ticket once he understood what the triumphant numbers were. He continued to make it happen, and he pulled off it for some time since he possessed more than one store with a lottery machine, so he was more diligently to follow. In any case, when he was gotten, he had proactively won $3.76 million, yet his fortunate streak didn't keep going long. He was gotten and imprisoned for life for accepting that open door. The Pennsylvania 666 outrage. Did you accept that all unusual contentions just happened beyond the US? All things considered, rethink here in Pennsylvania. One of the most scandalous and peculiar lottery embarrassments in history occurred in 1980. We should return to 1980. Envision this. The individual responsible for reporting the triumphant lotto numbers live on TV was Scratch Perry, who collaborated with Edward Pevell, a man who directed the lottery at that point. Together, they thought of a plan to fix the lottery in support of themselves. They did this. They believed the numbers 4 and 6 should show up more regularly during the lottery drawing, so they pursued a choice to try different things with the lottery balls. The balls being referred to ought to be altogether fair. However, they aren't. In this case, the balls with numbers 4 and 6 had some additional weight added to them and confidential by Scratch and Edward. Sneaky. Indeed, here's when things begin to turn out to be truly fascinating. It was made arrangements for the chamber where these balls were kept to be incredibly secure, twofold locked, and all that garbage. However, what's this? Both Scratch and Edward were keen men. They had 2 keys to the shut room, not only one. They could, without much of a stretch, access the balls at whatever point they wanted. At the point when the lottery drawing in the end occurred, an exceptionally peculiar thing occurred. 8 lucky people approached and said they had the triumphant numbers, which was the clincher. The lottery overseers viewed this as very dubious. There was clearly an obscure circumstance going on. The specialists started looking immediately, and an amazing miracle, they before long found what Scratch and Edward had been doing, since these 2 men were basically the ones in particular who could manage those one-of-a-kind balls. It wasn't especially muddled. What an embarrassment here in our area. Kids were being utilized to choose the triumphant numbers in Italy in 1999 to guarantee an irregular draw. These children were blindfolded. However, it would seem was an impractical notion. There are multiple ways of fooling little youngsters into picking your triumphant numbers while they're blindfolded. They clearly controlled the game by basically eliminating the blindfold so the children could see. They likewise sorted out some way to veneer the balls. They expected to rise out of the draw with a very sparkly sheen, so the kids could see them through the blindfold. Certain individuals attempted to swindle in the lottery by utilizing a subtle stunt. They either froze or warmed up the balls with the triumphant numbers so the children could feel them and select them. However, their arrangement blew up when during one draw a ball got too hot and a kid got injured. Contacting it, everybody sorted out what was happening, and the duping plan was halted. This shows that there are numerous ways individuals can swindle in lotteries. We might dare to dream that large. Lotteries aren't impacted by these obscure exercises yet. It's not only individuals running the lottery draws who can be the issue, even individuals who sell lottery tickets in some cases take the triumphant ones, so we should be cautious and ensure lotteries are fair for everybody. You realize that pleasant man who possesses the store where you purchase your lottery tickets, he probably won't be pretty much as decent as you. Naturally suspect there's a gigantic issue with store representatives taking winning tickets. They really take a look at the ticket for you, and on the off chance that they see you've won, they basically take the ticket for themselves. There are a couple of ways of doing this. Some just say you haven't won and profess to toss the lost ticket in the garbage. However, they really put it under their work area or in their pockets. Different representatives have a heap of losing tickets that they'll provide for you as opposed to returning your ticket. Or in some cases, they'll let you know you won a modest quantity, like $5, which they cheerfully hand over. However, you won $5,000, which they gather for themselves, and no one at any point sees some unacceptable individual got the money. In one case, a man was informed he'd won $5,000 when he'd really won $5 million, and there are different lottery representatives who have brought back home millions that way. The most pessimistic scenario occurred in London, when a 60-year-old veteran went to really take a look at his ticket. He realized he'd scored something on the grounds that the sweepstakes machine made a clamor and festival, yet the representative wouldn't give his ticket back. Somebody at the lottery attempted to help the man and figured out that he'd won $8 million. Yet the lottery had paid out the award to the representative, who took the ticket and would do nothing to help. He actually hasn't accepted his rewards, while the ticket the criminal is carrying on with a decent existence with his cash. The issue is so awful in the US that there are devoted secret lottery specialists who invest their energy attempting to get assistants who are taking tickets. They give the representative an extraordinary ticket, which they know is a nice measure of money. Assuming that the representative lets them know they've won and lets them know the perfect proportion of money, then, at that point, they're fine. However, on the off chance that the agent takes a stab at something subtle, the lottery specialist cautions the specialists. That is the main explanation we realize pretty much every one of the times agents have taken tickets. So next time you take your pass to a store to check your rewards, make a point to intently watch your representative. They're most likely making an effort not to take from you. However, assuming they are, you'll get them and keep your cash. One more method for beating this issue is to purchase your lottery tickets on the web. Yet, as you're going to see, that is not an ideal framework. Either online lotteries are obliterating stores, did you realize? The stores bring in a lottery commission, they make money for ticket deals. And assuming that a ticket they sold wins cash, they get cash equivalent to a level of what that ticket was worth. The effort's perfect for stores. A lottery machine likewise builds the quantity of clients in their stores, since individuals come in to purchase a ticket, and afterward frequently purchase different things too, so the lottery can truly assist with keeping their entryways open, particularly when they're a private venture show to a family or only one individual who's attempting to keep their entryways open. Yet presently lotteries across the US and in certain nations are pushing for online lotteries, which are beginning to assume control over the lotteries will bring in additional cash from this, since individuals are bound to impulse purchase tickets when they can do it on their telephones and don't need to go the entire way to store to get it. Yet these progressions implies that the stores are enduring, and many are in any event being compelled to close their entryways. This isn't an issue at all. The lottery will tell you in light of the fact that such a large amount the cash from ticket deals is utilized to further develop the area anyway. Even that probably won't be the case. Lottery cash doesn't go where you might expect. This is one technique the lottery uses to convince clever individuals to continue to buy tickets. They regularly examine how the returns from ticket deals will be effectively utilized. This can be all that from safeguarding the climate to helping youngsters who are destitute. Anyway, the cash probably isn't being utilized in the way they guarantee. For example, the Los Angeles Brought Together School locale got $97 million from the $1.39 billion in income produced by the California Lottery in 2014, which was used to redesign the area's instructive offices. The neighborhood lottery overplayed it in the accompanying scholarly year, so everybody knew about how much good might come from buying a lottery ticket. In any case, that was only one occasion, and very few spots are regulated as really as California Lottery continues are many times put in a general state asset in the US where the state government figures out what befalls them. And yes, in some cases things truly do go definitively where they ought to. However, significantly more regularly material will be scattered broadly to such an extent that nothing finds its planned area, or specialists will totally forget about it. In this way, all of the cash that you spend on tickets, in the conviction that somebody will benefit from it, regardless of whether you win, truly vanishes into an opening in the state money chests. And numerous countries beyond the US are likewise encountering that terrible. A Powerball fortune is a lot simpler than you suspect if you don't watch out yet. What are the essential moves toward protecting your success? We should make a plunge and find number 10. The brilliant role subsequent to winning the Powerball. Everybody's most memorable sense is to declare this success freely. In any case, staying quiet about this is a lot more brilliant. Here's the reason staying quiet about your success is savvy and urgent. The mystery lies in the brain research of mystery. Scoring a gigantic sweepstakes can be overpowering, and staying quiet about it gives you the genuinely necessary space to handle this life-changing occasion. It's a cradle time, permitting you to make quiet, gathered choices about your future without the clamor of outer suppositions and assumptions. During this period, you can insightfully plan your funds, look for guidance from confided in experts, and think about the effect of your recently discovered abundance on your way of life and connections. This calm stage is pivotal for setting a strong starting point for your future, guaranteeing that when you truly do choose to share your news, you're completely ready for the progressions it'll bring. Presently, consider the dangers of uncovering your success too soon. The second news spreads, you become an objective for tragically missing family members, companions, tricksters, and entrepreneurs. Your once tranquil life can immediately turn out to be brimming with off-the-cuff feedback, demands for cash, and even security concerns. The strain to add to each reason, put resources into each endeavor, or tackle everybody's concerns can huge and channel. By remaining quiet, you're shielding your rewards and your own prosperity, permitting you to partake in your fortune based on your conditions. Making a masterful course of action for your new fortune is a transitory measure. Remain quiet about your success for quite a while and permit yourself to think of a technique. You can try not to lose your whole fortune short term. In addition, namelessness can be critical to keeping up with predictability and psychological well-being. Unexpected abundance can strain individual connections, prompting envy, disdain, or unreasonable assumptions from others. At times, lottery champs who have opened up to the world have confronted badgering, fights in court, or even actual damage while staying quiet about the success. Talking with monetary counsels, legal counselors, and emotional well-being experts nationals can give an establishment to mindful abundance the executives. This discrete period helps in defining limits, focusing on objectives, and arriving at informed conclusions about beneficent giving. Speculations and heritage arranging guarantee long-haul security and satisfaction. Number 9, report your success. Getting your Powerball win next is similarly significant. It's significant to carefully report your ticket. Here is a straightforward yet powerful method for doing this. In the first place, track down a calm, sufficiently bright space. Lay your ticket on a level surface. Utilize your cell phone to take an unmistakable photograph of the ticket front and back. Guarantee all subtleties, particularly the numbers and scanner tags, are apparent. This step is essential, as it demonstrates the ticket's legitimacy and your possession. Then, now is the right time to ponder secure capacity for these pictures. Messaging them to yourself is a decent beginning. Utilize a record you trust and ensure your secret phrase major areas of strength for is. Don't stop there. Use distributed storage administrations like Google Drive or Dropbox for an extra layer of safety. These stages offer more space, and furthermore give simple access from any gadget. Here's where the significance of advanced reinforcement sparkles. Actual tickets are defenseless against misfortune, harm, or robbery. However, with computerized duplicates, you have a safeguard. They're unquestionable proof of your success. Essential on the off chance that the actual ticket is compromised. Besides, in the computerized age, having reinforcements in numerous spots guarantees you are never helpless before a weak link. Keep in mind, this is tied in with making a vigorous security net for your freshly discovered fortune. By making these strides, you're archiving your success and getting your future. Moreover, captivating in these practices makes way for a trained way to dealing with your rewards. This underlying step of cautious documentation shows the significance of watchfulness, protection, and the worth of a precise way to deal with defending your whole monetary future. Number 8. Getting the brilliant ticket subsequent to winning the Powerball. Your ticket is the brilliant path to getting it. A protected store box at a bank is far superior than an individual protected at home. A protected store box offers unrivaled security. These crates are housed in the vault of a bank, monitored by the actual strength of the vault and the bank security framework, which incorporates observation cameras, caution frameworks, and frequently non-stop security workforce, as opposed to individual safes, are as yet powerless. They can be focuses for hoodlums on the off chance that they know there's an important thing inside. In addition to home safes, are not generally flame-resistant or waterproof, gambling with harm to your ticket in the event of a catastrophe. One wake-up call of Bounce, a standard Joe, who hit the big time shows why this is significant and the happiness of winning. We've reserved his ticket in an individual protected at home. He thought it was secure, yet destiny had different plans. A minor fire flare-up at his home prompted a fire. Contenders dousing his place with water, the safe was water safe, not waterproof. Bounce's ticket was doused, the ink obscured, and his fantasy evaporated. Into slender air, his story could have had an alternate completion in the event that he'd utilized a protected store box. Yet the moral is clear. Try not to take risks when you have a ticket worth millions. Select a protected store box. It's worth it for a peace of brain, and to guarantee your brilliant ticket stays completely safe. In addition, utilizing a bank-safe store box adds a layer of obscurity and protection to your rewards, dissimilar to a home safe, which could be gotten to or found by relatives or guests. A protected store box is open just to you or assigned people, which limits the gamble of accidental breaks about your bonus. Banks additionally offer protection for the items in safe store boxes, giving an additional layer of monetary security. This step gets your ticket against actual dangers and builds up the significance of privacy in overseeing enormous amounts of cash. Your lottery journal making a lottery journal could appear to be inconsequential. However, it's something worth talking about. This journal is your own narrative, itemizing all that about your ticket buy. A safeguard and a device can have huge legitimate advantages. There are numerous legitimate advantages to this thought. Down the line, somebody guarantees a portion of your rewards, contending they were crazy and picking those fortunate numbers without proof. Such questions can turn chaotic and extended. Your journal, with point-by-point sections about where, when, and how you purchased the ticket, and who was or alternately wasn't with you, fills in as serious areas of strength for a record. It obviously lays out current realities, serving to quickly counter any unwarranted cases. Besides, this journal becomes priceless in safeguarding against future cases. For instance, a relative or companion could demand that purchasing the ticket was a joint choice, or maybe you kidded about sharing the rewards without substantial proof. Such relaxed comments can develop into serious cases. Your journal, with its reasonable record of occasions prompting the buy, is a guard against such situations. Past legitimate protections. Your lottery journal fills in as a fundamental record for monetary preparation and expense purposes. It can detail each buy and how rewards are distributed, spent, or contributed. This careful record-keeping is significant for monetary reviews or requests in case of an IRS review or monetary survey. Having a point-by-point record of the rewards, their utilization, and any gifts made can demonstrate important. This journal consequently turns into an extensive monetary report that upholds straightforwardness and responsibility. Number 6, going in secret, and winning the Powerball is like venturing into a spotlight you never knew existed. Staying under the radar in such a case is vital, and keeping up with security is fundamental for safeguarding your freshly discovered riches and your own well-being and mental stability. The second your success becomes public information, you could turn into a magnet for a wide range of undesirable consideration. From far-off family members and tragically missing companions to tricksters and relentless sales reps. Everybody could need a piece of your fortune. An assembly line laborer John scored an enormous sweepstakes a couple of years prior. However, his bliss was short-lived when he was overpowered with fast solicitations for cash, and his telephone rang free. His postbox was in every case full, and he even confronted provocation in the city. The strain turned out to be intolerable to the point that John needed to change his number and move to another city. Then there's the narrative of Sarah, who figured her humble community would praise her success. However, rather she confronted envy and disdain. Companions turned cold, and neighbors treated her differently. Sarah's intriguing success immediately transformed into an upsetting trial. These accounts show the significance of remaining unnoticed after your large win. Security is tied in with safeguarding your psychological prosperity and guaranteeing you can partake in your rewards calmly. At the point when fortune blesses you, embrace it discreetly, and your future self will thank you for the harmony. This circumspection offers number 5% of real value after the happiness of a Powerball win. Hiding out ought to be your new mantra. You ought to track down a safe and tactful area to interruption, plan, and interaction your following stages from the public eye. Picking the right refuge is a greater amount of a craftsmanship than a science. Settle in areas outside of what might be expected that are agreeable enough for a short stay. This could be an unobtrusive lodging in an adjoining town or an Airbnb concealed in a tranquil neighborhood. The key is secrecy where nobody would anticipate that another tycoon should remain. Stay away from extravagance resorts or famous getaway destinations where you could chance upon somebody you know. A genuine story of a victor shows why hiding out is so significant. Emily, a teacher, hit a critical lottery big stake. Rather than racing to the spotlight, Emily took an alternate course. She booked a little cabin in a provincial region miles from her old neighborhood. She informed just her nearest family about her whereabouts. and even they didn't have a clue about the specific area during her time away. Emily arranged her future. She counseled monetary guides via telephone, set up the vital lawful designs, and ready for life as a tycoon, all while the media free for all around her passed on. At the point when she at long last arisen, she was monetarily and intellectually prepared for her new life. Emily's story shows the force of moving away from the bedlam to graph your course forward cautiously. Laying low aids get yourself the existence expected to use sound judgment. A concise break permits you to arise more grounded, more astute, and prepared to handle the difficulties and chances of your newly discovered riches. Number 4, family matters after a Powerball win. Exploring relational peculiarities turns into a sensitive errand. A choice requires cautious idea and responsiveness with regards to picking who among your family to tell. It's not just about who you love or are near, about recognizing those can deal with the news mindfully. You really want individuals who will regard your security, support your choices, and not let the mystery slip. They ought to be people who figure out the significance of carefulness and the possible results of a break. This isn't to propose that your family will purposefully endanger your well-being or security. Nonetheless, even good-natured family members can unintentionally get out the word. Easygoing discussions at the supermarket or posts via virtual entertainment can rapidly wind crazy in practically no time. Your special arrangement becomes public information. Consider the narrative of Alex, a lottery victor who entrusted his enormous family with his mysterious in spite of their best goals. The news streamed out through a cousin's thoughtless Facebook post, and Alex before long wound up at the focal point of a media storm and the objective of vast solicitations for a monetary guide. It was an example in the significance of tact, even among those nearest to you. The action item here is clear. Be particular and deliberate about who in your family you bring into your inward circle, post-win. Have genuine discussions with them about the significance of keeping this news hidden. Keep in mind, your family can be your most noteworthy emotionally supportive network. Yet just trust and carefulness are the underpinning of these connections. Exploring these waters cautiously guarantees that your success is a gift, not a weight to your family ties. Number 3, assemble your groups triumphant. The Powerball is the start of a complex monetary excursion. Subsequent to winning, you ought to likewise zero in on gathering a gathering of experts who can explore you through these unfamiliar WS emergency rooms. This step will assist you with transforming your success into long-haul steadiness and development. The meaning of expert guidance couldn't possibly be more significant. Enormous aggregates bring huge obligations and open doors, whether it's venture systems, charge arranging, or lawful insurance. Every choice you make can have significant ramifications. That is where specialists come in. They give the important direction to guarantee your choices are educated, vital, and custom-made to your new monetary status. While choosing a legal counselor, search for somebody with experience taking care of unexpected riches. This could be a bonus from lottery rewards, legacies, or business deals. You really want a person who figures out the subtleties of abundance, the board, and security. Check their history. Request references and guarantee they have no irreconcilable circumstances. The right legal counselor will defend your riches and your freedoms as a newly discovered prosperous person. Likewise, picking the right assessment consultant is essential. This ought to be somebody knowledgeable in the intricacies of expense regulation, as they apply to enormous amounts of cash. Search for confirmations, experience, and a strong standing. Your duty counselor will be urgent in assisting you with exploring the complexities of state and government charges. Amplify your monetary advantages and stay away from expected entanglements. Building your group is tied in with making an emotionally supportive network that lines up with your monetary objectives and individual qualities. This group will be your sounding board, guide, and safeguard as you adjust to your new monetary scene. With the ideal individuals close by, you can change your lottery win from a passing snapshot of fortune into an enduring inheritance. Number 2, step into the spotlight. Venturing into the spotlight as a Powerball victor is a decision time, a difficult exercise between embracing notoriety and keeping up with protection. To start with, set yourself up intellectually. The shift from obscurity to a well-known individual is critical. You could get interview demands, be drawn nearer for remarks, or find your story in the news. Having a plan is urgent. Conclude ahead of time the amount you need to share and adhere to your limits. Consider having a representative or your legal counselor handle media requests. This approach guarantees your story is told precisely and controls the public account. There are advantages and disadvantages to public versus mysterious cases in certain states. Victors can stay unknown, offering a safeguard against the public eye. This choice keeps up with your security, diminishes undesirable consideration, and limits the gamble of misrepresentation or badgering. Notwithstanding, secrecy can likewise fuel public interest and hypothesis, which could prompt accidental consideration. On the other hand, creating a public case can be an enabling encounter. It permits you to control the story and could in fact be a stage for advancing causes or messages critical to you. The drawback is that you become a person of note for the time being. With all the investigation and consideration required, your own life could as of now not be private, and you could confront strain from individuals looking for a portion of your fortune. At last, the decision among public and unknown cases relies upon your conditions and solace level. Anything that way you pick, recollect that this is a significant second in your life. Handle it with care. Deliberateness and the help of your believed group venturing into the spotlight is tied in with dealing with the new section of your existence with certainty and control. This progress can be smoothed with the right system, guaranteeing your success stays an euphoric, groundbreaking occasion. Number 1, monetary intersection. Stirring things up around town puts you at a significant monetary junction, picking between a singular amount and an annuity. This choice shapes your monetary future and is maybe the main choice of all. Picking the singular amount implies getting every one of your rewards all the while. However, it's not the complete bonanza sum. This choice subjects your windfall to quick, weighty tax assessment, altogether lessening the net sum you get. Notwithstanding, the benefit is clear. You oversee a huge amount of cash. This control opens up tremendous venture open doors, permitting the potential for your abundance to develop dramatically whenever oversaw admirably. Then again, picking the annuity spreads your rewards more than a March 30th, 2024 timeframe, frequently 29 years. Every year, you get an installment, which is a part of the big stakes subject to charges at that year's rates. The annuity offers a consistent revenue source, giving monetary strength and diminishing the gamble of blowing through your rewards rapidly. Notwithstanding, this choice restricts your prompt admittance to the main part of your abundance and could be less invaluable assuming expense rates fundamentally increment over the long run. Consider Sam, who picked the single amount, put carefully in a blend of land stocks and bonds. Throughout the long term, his abundance developed past the underlying big stake sum. Notwithstanding, another victor, Linda, who picked the annuity, partook in the genuine serenity that accompanied a reliable yearly pay. She stayed away from the pressure of dealing with an immense total and lived serenely without dreading monetary ruin. Your decision between these two choices ought to be founded on your monetary objectives, way of life needs, and hazard resistance. A choice warrants profound thought and master exhortation. This intersection is a decision about how you need to impact your life after this stupendous win with cautious preparation and the right guidance. Either way can prompt a prosperous and satisfying future. Following these fundamental advances might actually assist you with safeguarding your bonanza. However, recall, that is not the standard. A few victors are enticed by the excitement of moment riches, just to see it get away. Similarly, as quick as you naturally suspect winning a monster Powerball big stake is perhaps of the best thing on the planet, you could be off base. Big stake victors who live in the fantasy say it tends to be more similar to a bad dream. These are the main 10 things Powerball victors can't stand about winning. Other rich individuals could do without them. I could do without it. You'd feel that when you get rich, you'll approach an entirely different piece of society. You never did. And sure, you'll have the option to do a great deal of things rich individuals do. However, frequently lottery victors end up frustrated on the grounds that other rich individuals can't stand them. Indeed, there's forever been social legislative issues and grandiosity with regards to class. Individuals from old cash families see individuals who are recently rich as lower class. However, even individuals with new cash disdain lottery victors. That is since, in such a case that you're recently rich, the odds are you endeavored to bring in all that cash they despise lottery champs for having generally similar honors they have without investing the energy into. Arrive obviously a ton of lottery. Victors were likewise buckling down. They simply didn't end up with the right work or abilities to make them rich. Some may be lethargic. However, a large portion of them are. Presumably similarly as diligent as individuals who made themselves fortunate, yet unfortunately rich individuals never see it that way. Victors can make a couple of rich companions, yet they'll quite often be peered down on by rich individuals, whether they were naturally introduced to cash or made it themselves. Yet it's not rich individuals making their lives hopeless. Number 9, everyone needs a slice of their pie. Okay, that is a large chunk of change. There's one thing all specialists settle on while examining lottery wins. They all believe it's smart to remain unknown. There's an excellent justification for that, assuming that heaps of individuals realize you've won a bonanza. There will likewise be heaps of individuals attempting to get in on the activity. Everybody will need a slice of the pie. The issues can begin any place, those individuals could emerge out of any place. Frequently, they're finished outsiders searching for present. They ordinarily appear in the remarks of your virtual entertainment post, which is the reason a ton of lottery victors erase their records a couple of months in the wake of winning. However, some of the time, assuming you're a complete name and your city are distributed, they'll have the option to find your personal residence, and they will in a real sense appear on your entryway step, requesting cash. Yet, in some cases, it's somebody you know. When 21-year-old Timothy Schultz won an incredible $29 million, it was his collaborator who attempted to get her hands on his award. She guaranteed Timothy had said she could purchase the ticket with him and they'd share the award assuming it won. Timothy said in court that they had expressed something to that effect while he was purchasing the ticket at the service station where they worked. However, she'd never provided him with her half of the cash to pay for the ticket. That wasn't sufficient to persuade individuals that she wasn't involved. However, Timothy's story finished pretty well in light of the fact that in Iowa, you must be something like 21 years of age to play the lottery. Timothy had purchased the ticket a couple of months after his 21st birthday, yet the young lady attempting to take half of his rewards was just 20 years of age. So she wasn't legitimately qualified for any of his cash since she wasn't permitted to play the game in any case. Yet, few out of every odd story closes with more karma for the champs. One not entirely settled to benefit from lottery victors is the media. Assuming that you've won a bonanza sufficiently large to stand out as truly newsworthy, they'll attempt to benefit off of you by getting pictures and inside scopes that they can fabricate the story from. To them, there's really no need to focus on taking your cash. They need to utilize you to get snaps, and it can make your life a hopelessness. At the point when John and Lisa Robinson won an incredible $528 million big stake, they were at that point resigned. At their colder time of year's question and answer session, they told the world they were cheerful and didn't have any desire to move out of their home that they'd cherished for a really long time. However, their serene home before long turned into a spot brimming with pressure. When lots of media vans began setting up Camp External, they were joined by lots of outsiders searching for cash. It got so terrible, the police needed to begin watching the property forever to ensure the Robinsons were let be. They, before long, acknowledged they couldn't carry on with their ordinary life there any longer. They sold their darling home and moved far away. Certain they purchased a lovely $1 million lakeside manor. Yet we actually figure they ought to have been permitted to remain in their old house. In the end, they didn't get that choice, and not simply outsiders. And the media need a piece of a major lottery, when the public authority needs to partake in it as well, and victors can't express no to them. Number 8, they need to pay heaps of duty. You have a ton of making sense of to do. There are places in the existence where lottery wins are not burdened, yet America isn't one of them. When lottery champs purchase their ticket, they ordinarily expected to win the sum promoted. To delineate what we mean, suppose you've won a $1.5 billion big stake. So soon, your financial balance will show you have $1.5 billion. To start with, that number is the sum you'll get provided that you take the annuity choice. Yet that requires many years. That is the reason you get more cash. It's the sum you've prevailed upon, in addition to intrigue every one of the years, assuming you take the single amount, as most champs. You'll really get much less. A $1.5 billion big stake will mean you really get a single amount of about $930 million. So you've proactively got much short of what you were expecting. However, at that point, the charges come in. All champs in America should pay government personal assessments on lottery bonanzas. The amount you win decides the rate you want to give up. Yet a major bonanza like this implies they'll take 37%. 24% is quickly kept and given over to the public authority before you even touch the cash, and you're at risk for the rest. That implies in this model, your $1.5 billion big stake has now dwindled to around $586 million. Stunning, right? And in the event that you're truly unfortunate, your state will take considerably more. Not all states expect you to pay charges on your rewards, however, some most certainly do. And there are other secret expenses as well, assuming you are wanting to share your bonanza uniformly with your family. You'll be in for an enormous shock since, supposing that you, for instance, give half of your leftover cash to your folks, you'll owe gift charge on it, and it's anything but a little rate. Possibly, it tends to be essentially as high as 46% more. Terrible in the event that you bite the dust, and your will expresses that your family ought to get your home. Your good thought implies they'll need to cover an astounding duty bill equivalent to around 40%. There is protection out there that covers a portion of that, which you should investigate in the event that you at any point hit the big time. So scoring that sweepstakes doesn't mean you can do anything you need with all that money, and having it probably won't be such a gift to champs in any case since. Number 7. They in some cases lose their feeling of direction. Indeed, I thought we planned to play Corona this evening. Analysts say that one of the most serious issues with scoring that sweepstakes is that victors feel lost. In the event that you're not really rich, you likely figure scoring that sweepstakes will tackle every one of your concerns and free you, yet that is false all of the time. Having things that you totally need to do, such as going to attempt to take care of your bills and care for your family, provides you a feeling of motivation. That is vital for great psychological well-being. Lottery champs have not a care in the world in the event that they realize they have sufficient cash toward the back. They can leave their place of employment. They needn't bother with to be any place at a particular time. They can do anything they desire. What's more, they don't have to stress over anything that sounds like the ideal life to a great many people, yet it implies they can get lost. Not having anything essential to do implies they lose their feeling of direction and significance throughout everyday life. That is quite awful. It additionally makes sense of why so many lottery victors rapidly foster lamentable medication and liquor issues. Keith Goff was a cheerfully hitched man before he scored that sweepstakes. His greatest dream was to resign and carry on with a simple existence with his significant other. Yet after he won millions, he began drinking intensely. Ultimately, his better half decided to leave as opposed to watch her darling spouse transform into a shell of the man she cherished. Keith passed on from a respiratory failure before long. Nearly everybody concurs that it was actually a messed up heart that killed him. However, it's not only a feeling of direction. Lottery victors lose number 6. They lose lots of ins. I assumed I was beguiling a few champs to lose their loved ones due to substance misuse. However, that is not by any means the only thing that drives companions away. At the point when you become a multi-tycoon, your way of life will undoubtedly change, yet your companions actually have a similar measure of cash. They most likely can't bear to venture to the far corners of the planet with you, move into privileged areas, or eat at the fanciest restaurants. The more you hang out in places like that, the less time you'll need to enjoy with your companions. Or more terrible, you could adhere to doing likewise things as in the past, yet they could become desirous. You'll in any case embrace a totally refreshed outlook on life, and it tends to be really unfortunate on the off chance that your companions begin treating you contrastingly on the grounds that you have heaps of cash. Give them cash. Shark Tank's Damon John has a fascinating method for forestalling that issue. However, he says the second you figure out that you've won, you ought to hit up everybody you know and inquire as to whether you can acquire cash. Like that, when individuals begin asking you for cash, they can't blow up assuming you say no in the event that they've as of late expressed no to you. Yet in any event, when you make new companions, they probably won't be what they appear when Callie Rogers won millions at only 16 years of age. The most terrible piece of her experience was the manner in which her companions treated her. She says she some of the time purchases drinks for companions in bars just to acknowledge later that they were just conversing with her with expectations of getting a tale about her that they could offer to the sensationalist newspapers. That has become extreme. However, not just lying companions are an issue to lottery victors number 5. They can't confide in anybody. I can't really accept that you have no faith in me. Clinicians say that one of the greatest emotional wellness issues that lottery victors experience is neurosis. Yet there's a very valid justification for that. The principal recommendation any lottery victor gets is that they need to assemble a group. Legal counselors, charge specialists, and monetary guides should assist you make great choices with your cash. Yet regardless of whether you're paying somebody an enormous compensation, that doesn't mean they become dependable. Jason Klin began calling himself the lottery legal advisor and immediately turned into an expert on assisting Bonanza champs with dealing with their cash. He was in any event. Showing up on television, he had heaps of clients who had won mind-blowing measures of cash, including the victors of an enormous $1.5 billion Uber Millions big stake that couple alone paid canned, an extraordinary $200,000 for their most memorable meeting, and $50K each month after that to care for their cash. He might have brought in a very sizable amount of cash from genuine work. None of his clients thought that he was taking millions from them to support crime show to his obscure companions throughout the long term. He took right around $200 million from his clients to stay away from that occurrence. Here's one more extraordinary recommendation from Damon John. He says request one more rich individual for the names from their believed counselors. It likewise assists with social occasion, a group from various firms, since they all watch out for any odd exchanges that could look dubious yet. That doesn't help the unfortunate victors who are as of now exploited. And assuming you think experts taking cash from lottery champs is terrible, the following issue on our rundown is surprisingly more terrible. Number 4. Their families at times betray them. Could you, at any point, accept that when you score that sweepstakes, even your own family can betray you? This can occur in a wide range of ways you'd never dream of. And there are something beyond a couple of lottery victors who have been sued by their family to get more cash most as of late. Barbara Rick went with her nephew Tyrone to gather her victor's check. However, when the press inquired as to whether she had anything to say, she went to her nephew and said, "I'll see you in court. JCA Weirs will court. I'm indicting him. It was my tick." Tyrone claims that Barbara purchased the triumphant ticket for him as a present. That guarantee was supported pretty plainly in light of the fact that it was Tyrone's name that was composed on the ticket. However, after the ticket won, Barbara said she'd just put his name there for karma, and she never consented to give him the cash, assuming the ticket won. Tyrone had proactively consented to divide the triumphant into equal parts. However, Barbara needed more than that, and as guaranteed, she sued him. Tyrone consented to take 40%, and Barbara got 60%. He says it's horrendous to lose that relationship in the wake of being so near his auntie his entire life. However, it might have been more regrettable. Arj Khan, a family man who claimed a laundromat, won $1 million big stake. At some point, that is not so much as a tremendous big stake like a few champs get. However, before he even gathered the cash, somebody had slipped him a dangerous portion of cyanide. The specialists possibly found this when Yue's sibling demanded that it was anything but a coronary episode that took his life. He was correct. The specialists suspect that an individual from the family was dependable. However, nothing could be demonstrated, and whoever did it is stands still. With all that gamble, is it truly worth the effort to win a big stake? Indeed. Number 3. Most champs will fail. I didn't have anything to do with this. However, somewhere around one investigation has discovered that, amazingly, 70% of lottery champs end up broke. As a matter of fact, lottery champs are bound to fail inside 3 to 5 years of winning than the typical American is to fail any time in their lives. Assuming you never saw that measure of cash all through your life, it's impossible you'll know how to deal with it when it out of nowhere falls in your lap. That much cash can make you want to manage the cost of anything you need. However, when you begin spending like insane, the cash evaporates pretty quick. Another review showed that lottery victors studied 10 years subsequent to winning had saved only 16 from each dollar they won. That sure doesn't sound manageable. However, a great deal of insolvencies are documented by individuals who utilize that cash to purchase resources and open organizations. And Chapter 11 isn't the most exceedingly terrible thing that can occur. Truth be told, the normal tycoon, including the ones who brought in their cash through business, fails multiple times in their lives, so it could deteriorate than petitioning for financial protection. Tragically, a great deal of lottery champs truly do end up in a more regrettable position. Number 2, some never get their cash in any case. I want more cash, say it. Bill, I really want more cash. It turns out you might have scored that sweepstakes as of now, you simply didn't have any acquaintance with it. Billions of dollars worth of lottery tickets go unclaimed consistently. As per lottery authorities, more than $2 billion goes unclaimed in America consistently. That is a stunning measurement, and the biggest ever unclaimed award will blow your mind. The ticket merited a faltering $77 million. The award went unclaimed for such a long time that regardless of whether you found that missing Powerball ticket in your coat pocket now, you wouldn't have the option to guarantee it. Yet, Never realizing you won the big stake isn't close to as awful as realizing that cash might have been yours. Heaps of victors lose tickets and can never guarantee their reward. Others have their tickets taken. However, the most horrendously terrible story yet was an English couple who passed up a gigantic big stake in 2021. They played similar numbers each and every week, and even had a web-based membership set up so their tickets would be purchased for them. They believed that would mean they'd never pass up a great opportunity by neglecting to purchase a ticket. So multi-week, when they checked the lottery draw, they promptly began celebrating. At the point when they saw every one of their numbers, they'd won an incredible $231 million. Unfortunately, an error implied their programmed installment never went through, and they unfortunately reserved no option to guarantee their award. So not scoring that sweepstakes can demolish your life similarly, however much winning it can. Yet, is there a method for ensuring it doesn't end in misfortune when you do win? Indeed. Number 1. Going with the best decision is beyond difficult. We would agree that it's smart to take master counsel when you win, yet tragically, that is much surprisingly troublesome. That is on the grounds that a great deal of specialists go against one another while offering guidance to lottery victors. Most say you ought to contribute shrewdly, while others, similar to Stamp Cuban, say effective financial planning is an immense mix-up. Mark Cuban says you ought to take the annuity choice, so it's more hard for you to blow everything, while individuals like Cavo L. Furthermore, Kevin Harrington say you can procure much more from speculations assuming you take the singular amount. You're told not to contribute all alone. However, individuals who paid attention to Jay Cland had millions taken from the individual who was intended to offer them guidance. This all turns into a tremendous issue on the grounds that, as clinicians will tell you, a ton of lottery victors feel pretty wrecked when they first score that sweepstakes. It can bring an immense measure of pressure into their lives, which possibly deteriorates when they understand they don't have the foggiest idea who to request counsel. Anyway, is it in any event amazing that the lottery revile strikes so frequently? You probably won't really accept that these things truly occurred, yet we can demonstrate it. Here is our rundown of the champs who lost without question. Everything. Many thanks for watching Gossip Now.